Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to my channel. I'm Sanjay, and I'm a full stack engineer who is trying to navigate his way around this AI space. Now, if you've been in the AI or machine learning space, I'm pretty sure you would have run into issues trying to find easy to use and affordable GPUs. With all the options out there like AWS, GCP, and Azure, it could be quite overwhelming with all the setup, complex pricing, and just getting started. So, today I have a few simpler and more affordable options which have really worked for me, and I'd like to share this with you. These are a lot more user friendly and definitely won't burn a hole in your pocket. Now, if you've tried using AWS, GCP, or Azure, I'm pretty sure you'd have run into one of these issues. They have a steep learning curve, or they're just geared towards enterprises and packed with features and technologies we hobbyists don't even need. And also, if you're looking for something like a H100 or V100 GPUs, these can be quite pricey on these platforms. Well, we have a few alternatives on the list, but I'll be going through only the ones that I have personally used. But before that, when should you even consider using a cloud GPU? Honestly, if you're doing something simple like just experimenting or prototyping, I think a local GPU would do the trick if you have one. But if you're doing something a lot more complicated and that requires more power, that's where these cloud GPUs come into the picture. Plus, we don't have thousands of dollars just lying around to go and buy a shiny new GPU. So instead, why don't we rent one at a fraction of a cost as and when needed? So we have a few names like Lambda Labs, Vast AI, Runpod, TensorDock, and a few others. But I found TensorDock and Runpod to be the most reliable and user friendly. So let's jump onto my screen and take a look at what these platforms look like.
Alright guys, I'm here in my TensorDock dashboard and this is how the UI looks like. It's fairly straightforward, there's not much fluff, and you can see a lot of graphic card options here. And you can also see on the left hand side you can something called CPU only server. This is if you don't need a graphic card and you're just looking for like a VM option. But anyways, I'm gonna go back to the GPU instance. I'm gonna pick something like a 3090. It's about 20 cents. You and you just gotta fill all of these requirements. Now I'm just going for like a 64 GB RAM and 120 gigabytes of storage. And you can see there's like a lot of listings that show up, and I'm gonna go with the first one that's come up here. It's about 35 cents, and you can also see on the right hand side that all of your pricing is pretty transparent here. And the next step is you go down and you gotta pick operating system or an image. uh, it does feel like the options are quite limited. You can only have the 6 options. I don't think you can have any custom images. And then you go down and fill in a password. Any random password will do. And then you just click deploy server. That's how simple it is. You don't have to navigate through any of unnecessary setup steps here. And that's how quick it is. It hardly took a minute for it to spin up a server. And then you can either SSH into your server, or you can either connect to it via Jupyter. You can even remote desktop to this server. Also, I want to mention that these are paid services. You don't have a credit system here. So you do have to put in your credit card as soon as you sign up for you to use any of these services. I would also like to show you this section here, which gives you a few options. Modifying configuration is straightforward, but to keep in mind that for you to do it, you'll have to stop your server. There's this option called reserve GPU. This is like having a dedicated instance where you can start and stop your server whenever you need it, but you'll be paying the full price, or whatever that is. And then you have an option of releasing the GPU, but if you're releasing the GPU, you may not be able to start your server again if that GPU is taken by some other user. But you'll only be paying for the storage. Then you can convert it to spot, or you can delete your virtual machine, and that will destroy your instance, and you won't be paying for anything. And that's what you should be doing once you're done with using this instance. They also have good documentation here. If you go on to that page, and you could see a lot of information on how you could connect to your instance, or how you could install NVIDIA drivers if required. Also, they're constantly working on new features on this platform very often, so this is something you should surely check out. So let's move on to Runpod, and this is what the Runpod dashboard looks like. It's definitely a lot more polished UI. This feels a lot more organized. They also have a lot of different services here, like pods are your regular instances, VM instances, serverless options, and you could have storage only options. And they have something called templates, which are your custom images if you have, or you could also use Docker images, which I'll show you while setting up a pod. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and set up a pod now. Also, make sure that you have put in your credit card and you've added some funds into your account. Proceed with creating a pod, and again, you have like a very simple UI. You pick a graphic card and you pick your configuration. In this case, I'm just going to go with something like RTX 3090, and this is what a template means. You have all these templates that Runpod provides you, like with built-in PyTorch and TensorFlow and stuff. And then you also have like community built images, which will help you set up like your stable diffusion or any LLM that you're probably looking for. And in this case, I'm just going to go with the first one here, PyTorch. You also have something called saving plans here. Say if you plan on using this instance for a long time, you may save some money on it. Uh, and I'm just going to go with on demand here, and that's as simple it is. You just click on deploy. So this is going to go ahead and deploy a pod for you, and it's also going to redirect you to the page where you can look at your instance. So this is going to take a short while. Maybe you can go grab a coffee or just take a walk, and when you're back, you should see all the logs gone, and this connect button should be available. All right, so it's done, and you can see this connect button is now available. You click on it and it's going to give you options on how you can connect to this particular instance. You can SSH to it, or you can start a web terminal, or you can either connect with a Jupyter Lab. You can also remote desktop to instances, but I think you need to pick a desktop image for that. But I'm going to keep that for a separate video. I'm planning to make a video on how you can create an instance and connect to it with various connecting options. Also on the right hand side, you can see how much you're paying for this instance, and that's how transparent and easy it is for you to just calculate how much this might cost you. They also have a docs link up here, and if you go to that page, they have a fairly extensive documentation on almost everything that you might need here. So that's how easy it is to set up an instance on either Runpod or TensorDock.
So if you've been frustrated by the complexity of these large cloud providers, I'd highly recommend giving TensorFlow or Runpods a try. These are far more simpler and affordable to try. Plus, you don't have to dig through all the pricing charts and the complicated setups. You can just get started right away. If you feel this video has provided you any value, please like, share, and subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below which provider you're likely to try. And for more such AI and tech related updates, stay tuned. Stay hungry, stay curious.